Oh, you. Okay. Well, I try to see if you wanted to play, bro.
Not doing so well. His family has said that it's probably best for him to attend rehab, and I think that he agrees with him.
Yeah.
He agrees with them.
Rehab's good. Of course, rehab is just like, it's like a gym, you know? Just because you get a gym membership doesn't mean you're going to get really fit. You know, it just depends on what you do when you get there. I think the idea that with alcoholism that you can sort of be doing better, you know, there's just no shades of gray with it. You're either sober or you're loaded, you know, and you can't manage it. It's like, that's the whole thing. So hopefully he does well. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'm rooting for him. That's all anybody wants, is to see him happy and healthy. And you just got at a certain point to sort of surrender to the process.
Have you spoken to him at all?
I haven't, not like in a couple months.
Are you concerned about his well-being?
Well, I think a lot of people have been concerned about Bam for a long time. And it seems like, it's like, oh, he's doing better, but, you know, you gotta get sober. Now he just had a kid.
Right.
So a lot of people think that having a kid, oh, well, I'll get my act together because I'm gonna have a kid. But that's the thing about the disease of alcoholism. You have no power over it. Nothing's gonna control.
How are you able to abstain from drinking?
I just do the things that sober people do.
Like what? What do sober people do?
We keep it a little bit under the radar. We don't talk about it too much, but we're a community of people that help each other stay sober, and we just do special stuff. And
Is
it works
working out is that like the key? No.
I mean, that's good. Being healthy is great. You want to be healthy, but you know, I'll say it. You want to work the 12 steps of recovery.
Right.
You know, you want to be in a community. You want to not try to do it on your own.
Friendly, last operator standing. Op 4 has located a bomb.
H&R Block will file your 1040 EZ for free.
What? You know that's not your line, right?
Do you know that H&R Block will file your 1040 EZ for free?
Yeah, the line is...
We need to locate a bomb. Your drone has found a bomb. Seconds. 5 seconds. The diffuser has been secured. Proceed to bomb's location and defuse it.
Hostile, second floor. Drone is activated.
You located a bomb.
Located.
4 remaining.
Star. After all, it's an enormous amount of pressure to have on your shoulders. But more often than not, they go off the rails, leaving their reputation
Op
and
4
career
neutralized.
in
Mission
bits.
successful.
Let's take a look at 10 famous child celebs who lost career. Number 10, Stephen Anthony Lawrence. American actor Stephen Anthony Lawrence had the world at his feet when he landed the role of Bernard Bean's Aaron Gurin in the smash hit Disney show Even Stevens. Although the role only lasted a couple of years, Lawrence had a pretty successful run starring in other shows such as That's So Raven, Married, With Children, and feature films Cheaper by the Dozen and Kicking and Screaming, to name but a few. All in all, he had a promising career in front of him. Unfortunately, it didn't quite work out that way. In 2015, fans started posting pictures of Lawrence in his latest role as Santa's helper at Sun Valley Mall. The star was barely recognizable and has definitely aged so much that it's not hard to see why the 27-year-old actor is out of work. Let's hope that there's enough jobs at the North Pole to keep
Op
it
4
going
is
for a
located a
while.
bomb. Plan your defenses
Number
accordingly.
9, Winona Ryder. While Winona Ryder was once one of Hollywood's hottest, the Edward Scissorhands star had a highly publicized fall from grace in 2001 when she was caught stealing over $5,000 worth of designer clothes from Saks Fifth Avenue in Beverly Hills. The incident was quickly leaked to the media, and the whole world saw the security footage of Ryder stealing the goods. During the trial, prosecutors accused the 90s star of using a variety of drugs illegally, including Oxycontin, Valium, and Vicodin. In December 2002, she was convicted of grand theft, shoplifting, and vandalism, and sentenced to 3 years probation and 480 hours of community service. Ryder did manage to work through her issues and land consistent. That was a close one, Winona. 1981 feature film Endless Love. Since then, he's been the lead in many successful blockbusters, Alan Furr winning.
Done with the wire.
Op 4 is defusing a bomb. You need to disable their diffuser. One friendly operator remaining. One Op 4 remaining. Diffuser located. Protect the bombs and disable the diffuser. Bomb defusing device is disabled. The diffuser has been destroyed. Friendly mission a success.
And Carlos Burrell perished. Crews and director Doug Lyman are largely to blame. After repeatedly with the families do not, according to them, Cruz's records and even Stevens, alongside our first entry, Stephen Anthony Lawrence, as well as in feature films. His successful career went on as he landed the role of Sam Witwicky in the Transformers franchise along Megan Fox, which was a commercial hit. But sometimes the pressure is just too much for superstars, and they simply crack. Things started going awry in 2014 when LaBeouf was charged with disorderly conduct and criminal trespass at Studio 54.
Secure the area.
His
Keep the bombs
behavior
protected.
definitely didn't resemble that of a Disney star when he spat at officers, swore, and yelled all the way to the station. While he attended rehab after the incident, a similar occurrence happened in July of 2017 when LaBeouf launched a horrible tirade of abuse against officers who tried to detain him in Savannah, Georgia, on the grounds of public intoxication. He was subsequently sentenced to a year's probation, fined $1,000, and is required to attend anger management. It's no surprise, given this behavior, that Shia isn't on our screens anymore.
Down to 10
Instead,
seconds.
choosing to go. But bear with us. Part of the tremendously
5
popular
seconds and counting.
Kardashian
Be
dinner
advised, the
plan,
bomb
there's
location has been
hardly any.
compromised.
sadly for Kendall,
Op 4
she
has
made
located a bomb. Be
beverage
ready for hostile
to make
action.
a truce between police officers and 4 hours. Pepsi issued a formal apology, including one to Kendall, but maintained that she had the right to approve it before her contract prohibited her from supplying Justin Bieber. Regardless if you hate him or if you're a dumb idiot.
Op 4 found a bomb. You must defend it.
Thanks for coming. Congratulations.
We expected. We'll let you be the judge. We made this video in collaboration with Plain Hour Notifications. TV shows like Smash, Medium, and Transparent. You'll see the results of going under the knife, as well as what Father Time has contributed. Perhaps her cosmetic decisions were wise because she is doing a lot better than other actresses her age.
All friendlies
Olsen
were
twins.
eliminated.
The Olsen twins stole our hearts in the 80s and 90s when they shared the role of Michelle Tanner on Full House. They were such a hit, they even got a few movies and books out of their fame. But time was not kind to the Olsen twins, and neither were their plastic surgeons. They actually got work done so they could look more different, probably to assert some independence. They definitely don't look the same, and people have wondered if it would have been better if they just left their looks alone. Their photos in the last decade have also sent a few shivers up our spines. Matthew Perry. We know and love Matthew Perry mainly from his work on the hit show Friends, where he played Chandler Bing. While on the show, Perry did struggle with weight, and his co-star Jennifer Aniston helped him out. Today, he is still a working actor playing Ted Kennedy in the miniseries The Kennedys, Decline and Fall. If you look at Perry back on Friends and compare him to today, he's definitely aged, and there are rumors that he's had some plastic surgery. Courtney Cox. While we're talking about Friends, let's look at Matthew Perry's co-star Courtney Cox, who played Monica Geller. Cox has been well known for getting plastic surgery during and after her Friends days. Fans even watched her face change while she was on her other show, Cougar Town. She even had a disagreement with her best friend Jennifer Aniston after she made negative comments about plastic surgery. Cox has received some flack for her new look, but what can you do? We aren't the only ones to notice the awkward transformation, as Cox has even admitted some regrets over her plastic surgeries. Nick Nolte. Okay, so to be fair, Nick Nolte is pushing 80, so the natural aging process is definitely at hand here. But unlike a fine wine, Nolte has had moments where he looks like he's aging more like milk. Yet he is still a working actor in Hollywood playing the lead role in the show Graves, and is filming a movie called The Padre. But it also seems that older men have a better chance at getting some work than actresses. Maybe we expect old men to just look haggard? Still, not fair. Melanie Griffith. Melanie Griffith is definitely known to have some plastic surgery regrets and has been trying to reverse the damage she's done to her face. Griffith was one of the hottest actresses in the business since the 1970s, and she was even married to Antonio Banderas at the time. But her life has been far from easy, and she has only recently opened up about her personal life. If you look at her before and after her plastic surgeries, she barely looks like her original self. Macaulay Culkin. It's safe to say that Macaulay Culkin takes the cake when it comes to dramatic changes from youth to childhood. Culkin was the go-to child actor of the 80s and 90s, showing a very promising career. However, he dropped off the radar for a while, only to reappear looking heavily aged and gaunt. He looked old for a person his age. What happened? Well, we can probably guess some substance abuse, yet he seems to be turning himself around and doesn't even look like the same guy anymore. Good for you, Mr. Culkin. Courtney Love. Courtney Love has definitely lived quite a life. She was married to Kurt Cobain, and she was also a working actress. Some speculated that Cobain's passing was what helped her get more prominent acting roles while launching her acting career. Throughout time, Love has gone under the knife in what seems to be an attempt to
10
improve her
seconds
looks,
to insertion.
as well as reverse Father Time's work. Well, the world has been watching
5 seconds.
and people's looks and behavior. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was once one of the hottest Hollywood heartthrobs around. Women wanted to be with him and men wanted to be him. However, he really looks nothing like the guy he once was, and he's aged into someone who looks quite different. We'll just let you see for yourself. Even after he dropped some weight, there's been some speculation that he had some plastic surgery and that it makes him look interesting. Either way, Kilmer says he's ready for a sequel to Top Gun, and it will be intriguing to see what he looks like. Suzanne Summers. Suzanne Summers played Carol Foster Lambert on the show Step by Step, as well as Chrissy Snow in Three's Company. In the 80s and 90s, she was one of the most popular actresses in the world. While she hasn't acted since 2001, the world still pays attention to what she does, especially when it's evident that she got some plastic surgery done. The natural aging process is expected to happen, but as we've learned, combining injections and Botox with the natural aging process doesn't seem to be a good combo. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you liked this video, then be sure to check out 10 plot-changing Easter eggs you've never noticed in popular movies by Screen Rant. Make sure to comment, share, and subscribe to their channel. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Prevent further biohazard container securing paused. Take out the hostiles. Op 4, last operator standing. Op 4 eliminated. Mission successful.
Hollywood can be a brutal business where actors are pressured to always look a certain way. Whether time or plastic surgeons did their work, the results aren't quite what we expected. We'll let you be the judge.
We tend to think of prisoners as tough, muscular, tattooed, and also assume they're old enough to drink. But you might be shocked at some of the very young people who ended up languishing behind bars before they were even old enough to drive. Don't get trapped in a prison of bad YouTube up your spine to know that one of the youngest convicted killers has recently been set free. Curtis Jones was only 12 years old when he and his sister Catherine, who was only a year older, shot their father's girlfriend. After trying in vain to cover up their crime, the siblings fled but were later apprehended by police. Although their lives before their crime had been fraught with abuse, they were tried as adults and sentenced to 18 years in prison and a life of probation. Both siblings pleaded guilty, and thus there was no trial and no opportunity for the judge to consider the abuses that the children had suffered in their short lives. As he headed off to prison, young Curtis lamented that he wouldn't be able to bring his Nintendo with him. At the age of 30, Catherine was released after spending her teenage years behind bars. She married a Navy senior chief who she had met as a pen pal in prison. Curtis was recently released at the age of 29, having become an ordained minister while in prison. Catherine claimed that she is happy to be finally free, but Curtis declined to comment on his newfound freedom. Lionel Tate. Although the result of young Lionel Tate's actions was undeniably horrible, there are many who feel that his sentence was a gross miscarriage of justice. When he was 12 years old, Tate was playing with a young girl half his age who lost her life as a result of rough play with the older boy. Although he times before, and there was much debate over whether this was simply a tragic accident or not, the prosecution offered Tate a plea deal that would have meant serving a mere 3-year prison term. Shockingly, Tate and his mother turned it down in hopes of an acquittal. Instead, Tate became the youngest person in America to ever receive a sentence of life in prison with no possibility of parole. However, he got a second chance when the conviction was overturned when he was 17, and he went from spending his life in prison to 1 year's house arrest and a decade of probation. Just a couple of years later, when he was 19, Tate was arrested for armed robbery, a conviction which violated the terms of his probation. This time, he's looking at 30 years behind bars. Max McDougal. done nothing wrong. Little Max McDougal has grown up behind bars because of the crimes of his mother, Jacqueline McDougal. She was caught stealing silverware in order to support her drug habit. She was pregnant when she entered prison, and Max has lived his whole life behind bars with his mother. Although she and Max don't interact with the general population, it's still very much a prison. Despite having to bring up her son in prison, McDougal calls her sentence a blessing in disguise. She admits that she was going down a bad path in life, and ending up in jail was a wake-up call that she needed to get clean and change her lifestyle. Keeping a baby in prison with his mother costs taxpayers about $24,000 per year, but it also lowers the rate of the mother reoffending. And since each year in prison costs $30,000 for an adult inmate, many people believe it's a better idea to let children remain in prison with their mothers. Mary Bell. A little girl convicted of murder sounds frightening enough, but knowing that we have no idea where she is now or what name she goes by is haunting. Mary Bell was convicted of manslaughter for her role in the passing of two little boys, Martin Brown, age 4, and Brian Howe, age 3. These crimes were committed when Bell was 10 and 11 years old. Psychiatrists believed that she was a psychopath, and the judge called her a danger to other children. She was to be detained until further notice in the Red Bank Community Home, a place for children to be incarcerated. Although this place looked like a normal home, it was really anything but. Children adhere to rigid routines, must complete chores, and are completely detained within the building. Later, she was sent to an adult prison before her release. She was detained for 12 years total and was granted anonymity along with her freedom. This means that she was able to change her name and travel freely, purportedly having a daughter and later becoming a grandmother. Anissa Weier and Morgan Geyser. This recent case made headlines due to the young age. Even if your bundle of joy was eagerly planned for, it's not unusual for new parents to feel overwhelmed. The difficult task of parenting can be even harder when the parents are basically children themselves. We'll show you some of the youngest parents in the world. We can't conceive of a better way to stay connected to the richest than by clicking subscribe and turning on When She Made History by doctor who examined her by physicians. Of course, everyone was wondering who the father of Lena's baby was, but he was never identified. Because of Lena's small size, she gave birth via cesarean section, and her healthy baby boy entered the world. The boy was named Gerardo after the doctor that had attended to Lena during her pregnancy. He was brought up believing that his mother was his sister until he learned the truth at 10 years old. As for his mother, she was psychologically a normal 5-year-old and usually preferred playing with dolls rather than her own child. Lena later married and even had another child 33 years later. She and her husband now live a quiet life together in Peru. Sherry Johnson. Although she was twice as old as Lena Medina when she gave birth, Sherry Johnson was still a child at 10 years old when she told her mother that she was pregnant. The father was an adult member of her church, creating a horrifying situation both morally and legally. Her mother did the rational thing and asked how Sherry felt about marrying the man who had impregnated her. Regardless of how young Sherry felt, a Florida judge agreed to approve the marriage between a grown man and a child in order to end the criminal case pending against the church member. At 10 years old, Sherry gave birth to a daughter, and when she was 11, she married the man who had impregnated her. Although that was the first birth, it wasn't the last, and Sherry would go on to have a total of 9 children with her now ex-husband. Unsurprisingly, their marriage didn't last, and after years of misery, Sherry finally gathered the strength to leave for good. Tyler Barker. When the world first heard that baby-faced 12-year-old Alfie Patton had recently fathered a baby himself, everyone was shocked. The mother of the child was 13-year-old Chantel Stedman, who gave birth to a girl named Maisie Roxanne. Alfie and his family hoped to do the right thing by Chantel and the baby, but in a truly Maury moment, it was later revealed that he was not the father. His family believes that the allegation was a ruse by Chantel and her family to gain lucrative media deals. So who was the real father of little Maisie? While young Alfie had once proclaimed that he was Chantel's only boyfriend, several boys had come forward admitting that they could be the child's father. It ended up being 15-year-old Tyler Barker, who broke down sobbing when he heard of the paternity test results. He admitted to hooking up with Chantel Stedman during a drunken one-night stand when he was only 13, which is a statement that should have been uttered by someone much older. He claimed that it was the only time he had been intimate with Chantel and called the incident the worst mistake of his life.
The biohazard
Sean
container.
Stewart. Sean Stewart was just 11 years old when he got his next-door neighbor, 15-year-old Emma Webster, pregnant. When the pair were dating, Sean would climb across the roof just to meet up with Emma after dark. Although the pair used protection, the condom happened to break one fateful evening. Initially, Emma thought she had come down with a stomach bug until she learned that she was pregnant. Sean even got the privilege of skipping school for the day when his son was born just a month after his own 12th birthday. His son, Ben Lewis, was born healthy, but becoming a new father was just the start of Sean's
Insertion
troubles.
in 10 seconds.
Emma vowed to complete her education in his early teens and traveled,
5 seconds
never
to
staying in one
insertion.
place for Nathan Fishborn. April Webster became pregnant when she had
Biohazard
just
container
become a
location
teenager.
unknown.
She was
Find the
13,
biohazard
the same
container.
age as her boyfriend, Nathan Fishborn. The pair met at school and
biohazard
their relationship
container has been
quickly
located.
became physical. The day before her 14th birthday, April discovered that she was pregnant. Because of health complications, their son Jamie was delivered via cesarean section. He was born with a malformed esophagus and struggled to eat at first. Thanks to a successful surgery, however, he was finally declared healthy after an 11-day stint in the hospital. Despite his young age, Nathan was thrilled to be a father and loved caring for his son. In fact, his desire to have him for weekend overnights caused the two families to meet a sort of informal custody agreement. Both sets of grandparents were hesitant and shocked when they learned of April's pregnancy, but claimed that they're glad Jamie is happy, healthy, and here. It's time for our trivia question. High school can be hard enough for most people to get through, but imagine having a child.
Resume securing the container once the threat is neutralized. Stop securing the container. Hostile activity. Resume securing the container once the threat is neutralized. Op 4, last operator standing. Op 4 eliminated. Friendly mission successful. Secure the room. We need to protect the biohazard container. Op 4 located the biohazard container. 10 seconds remaining.
The wall has been
5
reinforced!
seconds. Op 4 drone has located the biohazard container.